This is Hi guys, my name is Reyes and this is the chapter 11, Build a Small Network. And it, I'm here to discuss the brief discussion and about the summary of chapter 11. So let's proceed. Chapter 11 section and objectives. 11.1 Network design. Identify the devices used in a small network. Identify the protocols used in a small networks. Explain how small networks serves as basis of larger networks. Network security. Explain why security measures are necessary. Identify security vulnerabilities and identify general mitigation techniques. Configure network devices with device hardening feature to mitigate security threats. Apply the commands to back up the and restore an iOS configuration file. Then chapter 11 section objectives, basic network performance and then troubleshooting and network design. Small network topologies comprise one router, a couple of switches, and the user PC. Access the internet through a single one-link cable or DSL management usually by a third-party company. And device selection for small network security, QoS, L3 switching, NAT, and DHCP. IP addressing for a small network address space is crucial component of a network design. All devices connected to the network require an address. The address scheme must be planned, documented, and maintained. Address space documentation can be very useful for troubleshooting and control. Address documentation is also very important when controlling. Then device in a small network, redundancy in a small network. A network should be reliable by design. Network failures are usually very costly. Redundancy increases reliability by eliminating single point of failure. Network redundancy can be achieved by duplicating network equipment and links. A good example is a network link to the internet or the server farm. Then traffic management, traffic type and patterns should also be considered when designing a network. Good network design categorizes traffic according to the priority. The voice is the high priority, then the SMT is the medium priority, and the instant messaging are somewhat the normal priority, and the FTP are the low priority. Then small network application and protocols. Common application network applications used to communicate over the network. Then application layer program that interface with the network and prepare the data for transfer. Each service use protocols as just like in chapter 10 there are so many protocols that has been used. Then common protocols processes on either end of a communication session, how messages are sent and expected response, type of and syntax of messages, meaning of informational fields, interaction with the next lower layer. Then voice and video application, the infrastructure, the VoIP, the IP telephony, and the real-time application. Then scale to large network, larger networks. The small network grow to scale. We network several equipment are required. Network documentation, device inventory, budget, and traffic analysis. Protocol analysis, understand the protocol in use in the network, because we all need to understand how the protocol has been used, because somewhat it is a very critical or crucial way to build a network when you don't know the protocol that will be used. Then capture traffic in high utilization times and in different location of the network. Analysis result allow for more efficient way to manage traffic. Employee network utilization, beware of how network is changing. At network administration can create in-person IP snapshot of employee application utilization. Then the network security 11.2 and type of threats. Digital intrusion can be costly. Intruders can gain access through software vulnerabilities, hardware attacks, or stolen credentials. Then common types of digital threat includes those listed in the graphics. Physical security are somewhat the hardware, environmental, and electrical and maintenance. The type of vulnerabilities is three primary vulnerabilities is technological, configural, and security policy. Endpoints can be under attack such as server and desktop computers. Any of these three vulnerabilities can be exploited and used in attack in hardware, somewhat in some maintenance and other stuff. There will always be vulnerabilities. Then network attacks, type of malware is viruses, worms, Trojan horse, and reconnaissance attack. The viruses is somewhat one that crashes your PC. Then the worms are the one who duplicates its or copy itself. Then Trojan horse is somewhat in a file. Then when you open it, viruses and other stuff came out and destroy your computer. Then discovery and mapping of system and services acquires enough information on the target system or the network to facilitate the search for vulnerabilities. Common tools rely mostly on free and public internet service such as DNS and WHOIS. Port scanner and packet sniffer are also commonly used in reconnaissance. Then network attacks, then access attack, password attack, trust exploitation attack, port redirection, man in the middle, then denial of service attack. Although denial of service attack are still dangerous, prevent authorized person from using service by consuming system resources, prevent denial of service attack by applying the latest security updates. Common denial of service attack, ping of death, sync flood, DDoS, and smurf attack. Then backup, upgrade, update, and patch, keeping up to date with the latest development, enterprise with the current latest version of antivirus, patches for all the vulnerabilities, then a central patch server for managing a large number of servers, then patches should be installed without user intervention, then the AAA, the authentication, authorization, and accounting. Authentication is access a resource, then authorization what they can do, then accounting action performed while accessing the resource. The AAA framework can be very helpful when mitigating network attacks, because when you have a AAA, you can deny all the attacks or the things and you can still be secured. Then network attack mitigation, a firewall controls the traffic and prevents the unauthorized access. Then techniques for determining what is permitted or denied access to a network include packet filtering, application filtering, URL filtering, stateful packet inspection. Then and security, common endpoints are laptops, desktops, servers, smartphones, and security. In the application filtering, it is just in the web filtered. Then the packet filtering is for the message or other stuff. Then the URL is if it is in the server. Then securing endpoint device is challenging. Employees need to be trained on proper use of network. Policies often include the use of antivirus, software and host intrusion. More comprehensively, endpoint security solution rely on a network access control. Then device security overview. Default settings are dangerous because they are well known. Then Cisco routers have Cisco auto secure features. Change default username password immediately. Restrict access to system. Turn off unnecessary service. Update any software and install security patches. Password, we should know how to use a strong password and preferability at least 8 to 10 or more password characters. A mix up of camel case or upper, lower, and symbol numbers, spaces, and no repetition and no misspelled words and other stuff. Then basic security, service password encryption in order to store or encrypt the password that is in store. The security password min length in order to what is the minimum specified length of a password. Then login block for 120 attempts 3 within 60. It login block for it blocks the login for 120 seconds if there are 3 failed attempts within 60 seconds. Then exec timeout automatically disconnect idle users on a line. Then enable SSH. Telnet is not secured. It is high recommendedly use SSH for remote shell protocol. Then step 1 ensure the IP domain. Then generate the SSH keys. Then create a local username. Enable BTY inbound SSH session. Then the router can now be remotely accessed by using SSH. Then the ping command is somewhat just checking the connectivity of the end devices and intermediary devices to one another, and somewhat extended ping allows for more option, and it use the ICMP to verify the layer 3 connectivity. That's all for that. Then traceroute and traceroute command interpreting trace message. Tracert is somewhat use trace for window based and use traceroute for tracert. Tracert is used for window, then traceroute is used for iOS or Unix based system. Extended traceroute allows adjustment of parameter command terminates when destination respond with an ICMP echo reply and other stuff. Then the show command is somewhat these are the show commands: show run config, show interface for the VLANs, show ARP, show IP route protocols, show version and the other stuff. Then host and iOS command, the ipconfig all, IP display DNS. The ipconfig all is display all the IP addresses and other that is connected within one another. Then the display DNS is it displayed all the domain name that in the ARP command is list all the devices currently in ARP cache of the host ARP8. Then and ARP-D command it somewhat just cleared the cache. Then host and iOS command, the show CDP neighbor command. CDP is a Cisco proprietary that runs in the data link server. To disable CDP, use the global configuration command no CDP run. Then disable CDP on an interface, use the no CDP enable. Then what information the CDP neighbor detail command provide. The show interface brief command somewhat displays the summary of the key information in the interface. Then debugging allows the administrator to display message generally by following process in real time for analysis: iOS process, protocol mechanism, events. Undebug all turns off all debugs command. What are the available debugs command and other stuff? Terminal no monitor. The terminal no monitor command display the logs while connected remotely, such as SSH. Then troubleshooting, identify the first thing is we always identify the problem, establish a theory, then test the theory, and after that we should execute a plan of action, then verify, then documents. Then after that troubleshoot cable and interface duplex operation, current the direction of data transmission between two devices to connect Ethernet network interfaces should operate in the same duplex mode for best performance. Duplex mismatch logs messages can indicate duplex mismatch. What iOS command can you use to determine duplex mismatch? Then IP addressing issues on the iOS command, DHCP related, which command, then the ipconfig to verify the gateway, the window based, then ipconfig all to determine the DNS server used, nslookup to manually paste the DNS query and analyze the DNS response. And the summary is it explains how a small network can scale into a larger network, configure switches and routers with devices, then use common show commands and utilities to establish a relative performance baseline, apply troubleshooting methodologies in command host and iOS commands to resolve problems, then explain how a small network or of directly connected segments is created, configured, and verifies. And that's all for chapter 11 and for this CCNA1 summary. Thank you for listening and goodbye.